We're working in the sewing room today. I am putting the binding on the beautiful interlocking quilt that actually my mother made for her grandson, Jacob, who is also my nephew, and his gal, and I'm certain that they are going to love it. So working on the binding right now. I cut my binding at 2.5 inches. That's the width that I like, unless a client requests something else. I stitch it onto the back with a neutral color of thread, and I will be preparing to roll it over to the front, of which time I will do a nice neat top stitch, and I will be covering up the stitching that's on this front side. But a couple things I want to show you. One is I do not press my binding in half the long way. I know many people do. I have specific reasons why I don't do that, one of which it's just a big waste of time. And I don't want to take the time to do it. And some people love doing that, and that's great. But I do have specific reasons for it. If you're curious about it, we can get into a discussion. I do teach a clinic every year for free over here at the Quilting Studio during the better weather months of the year in Arizona, which is not right now because it's the summer. And I will talk to you all about my binding and give lots and lots of tips and tricks. One of the other things that I do is I just drape my binding right down next to me, and I start stitching it up, and she just lays right there, and I pull her up. I don't put her onto a paper towel roll. I don't put her onto a hanger. I don't hang her around my neck. I just do it like that. The other thing I want to show you is right here. I'm just going to finger press this open, but I knew that I was getting the spots, so I'm not going to worry about pressing it more than that for now. I'm down to my last corner. I'm actually going to be attaching it right here to this side of the binding. So I've done 3 corners, and I can see that this edge is going to, this splice is going to end up with a lot of bulk right on top of the bulk of that corner. So what am I going to do? If you've seen any of my other videos, you'll know. I'm literally just going to pick this out. You could trim it off and start again if you want to, but it just takes a moment. It's just as much effort for me to just pick it out. So I'm just going to do that. I'm going to raise it up a bit, as far as I feel comfortable with, and then the splicing will be way up here. I have lots and lots of binding left, so I'm okay with it. The only time I wouldn't do that is when I am just so tight on binding that it doesn't work out, but I have to say I almost always have it so that if this happens and I get into a bind like this, a bind on my binding, that I can pick it out and move it up a little bit. Rarely would it be occasion where I wouldn't have enough binding left over, but almost always I do. So I would definitely encourage you to do so. Bring this on up here. Give yourself as much opportunity to make a gorgeous corner as possible. They're challenging as they are, so don't make it any worse on yourself than you have to as far as adding bulk. Questions or thoughts? I have a passion for beautiful bindings. Hit the arrow down below. It will take you to another video of this same quilt getting stitched out, and you'll be able to see the process along the way.